Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. I hope everyone is having a great morning, Monday morning, and welcome to Sandra P's Gen Extra. I appreciate everyone that is able to make it for the live review. This is Real Housewives of Potomac. Guess who's back? A wild guess. So this is season 10, episode 7, Real Housewives of Potomac. And welcome into Sandra P's Gen Extra. Everything that am saying in this video, it is my own opinion. It is alleged, and it is for entertainment purposes only. If I were to share any clips, they will be under the Copyright Act of 1976, where allowance is made for fair use. So I will just run a banner for that. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Thank you for watching. If you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. I review this show, a lot of other Bravo shows. We have Real Housewives of Atlanta coming back. We have Real Housewives of Rhode Island. There was a preview of that while I was at BravoCon. Welcome, Elisa Triplet. Thank you so much for coming in during the live, saying good morning to everyone. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in during the live. Thank you. This is the beginning of the review. Guess who's back? So as we already know, it was the worst kept secret among the Bravo franchise, Monique Samuels. She was at BravoCon just a cackling. Monique, I feel like she's already picked a side. That's Stacy behind me. The side Monique has picked is not Stacy's. There's a big hint. So we'll get to her scene. But we start out with the mini scenes that Bravo does. I actually like this. We see Kierna getting a facial at her business, Kierna Stewart. So that's a good job. We saw the storefront and everything. She has a nice business. So we have Angel and Bobby. They're in their home. They're in the kitchen. Angel is still looking for this house, this elusive house that she wants to find in Potomac. And they reference their architectural digest worthy home that is in Denver. They're looking for something similar. Angel puts a price tag on it. She says, if we get a fixer up between 2 to 3 million, Bobby smiles, do what you got to do. So that gets Angel smiling. I love a smiling Angel. This changes later, y'all. Wouldn't you know? We get Tia. Tia's at home with her family. Her daughter's actually. She's getting a call from her mom. Did you know that Tia was part of the Nigerian royal family? No, we know. This comes up every episode because if we didn't know, she's going to tell us. But that's okay, Tia. Pop your collar, pop your family's collar. Welcome, Dot Willie. Thank you for coming in during the live. I appreciate you coming in during the live review. And speaking to Elisa Triplet, who is in here for the live review as well. Thank you. So the mother she has a beautiful mother. She is saying that she wants to send Tia, she wants to send her daughter a present, something special. You'll be surprised when you open it. And the daughter's on the phone, but she looks up. Oh, she's so mean. She's always saying mean things about you. She's talking crap about you. Yeah, that wasn't too nice. But Tia started laughing. They have their own little sarcastic sense of humor with each other. So then we hear sounds of a flashback, fighting, threats, kind of murmuring, and we see a lady getting her house together. We see Ashley Darby show up, not empty-handed, y'all. Ashley, you're getting some home training around here. She shows up with a vase of flowers in her hands. Monique opens the door looking beautiful. They greet each other like they're long-lost friends. Y'all, I'm not buying this. They're using Ashley to bring Monique back to the show, but I don't think they're the best friends like they're claiming. So we get a confessional from Ashley. Ashley is in a new burgundy leather suit. You look cute, Ashley. She got the gloves and everything. So obviously Ashley has a new stylist because she used to only dress in yoga pants or cutout type stuff. So you're looking good, Ashley. She says, I met my friend Monique 9 years ago. Yes, Ashley, we did too. You met her through the show. So she said, we were fast friends. I don't believe this is true. There have been lapses in our friendship. Production shows us pictures of Monique and Ashley together every couple of years or so. But this is the first time to the house now. This is the first time to the house. We know that Monique went through a divorce from Chris Samuels. When we met Monique on this show, she was married to Chris Samuels. She had children. She had a very small child. She had a new baby that came on the show. So we went through quite a bit with Monique in her few years on the show. Monique gets a confessional. She's in a beautiful gold dress. I love the way Monique has her hair, natural but so elaborate, and it's up. But she doesn't have her backdrop yet. She told some kind of long story that didn't make sense to me in social media about why. Something about they couldn't get it lined up. I haven't seen a blank backdrop like that before, but Monique gives us that. But then again, she was the only one that didn't retake her picture. And people were questioning that. And she said she didn't have time to retake a picture. So she says, I love Ashley. She never gave up on me. Everybody else turned their back on me except for Ashley and Karen Huger. So the Grand Dame did look out for Monique. We remember Giselle showing up with a bodyguard at Karen's home when Karen was trying to moderate the situation. And Robin and Giselle saw that as an opportunity to get Monique out of there. And she honestly did it to herself. She gave them the opportunity. So they're saying that they're good. They're the best of friends now. They have been over time. And we see a flashback of Monique's wedding. She was just singing Chris praises. I'm thankful I married a real man. Then we see the headlines. We find out she filed for divorce from this real man. I always like Chris Samuels. I think she didn't grow along with him, or he didn't grow along with her. He was always a traditional type man, and she was taking care of home and all of that. She was, in fact, his assistant when they first met. And as she grew, he wanted that same type wife, which is what it looked like. So she filed from him. Monique says she is 300 pounds lighter. Monique, I didn't really like that because you used to go crazy when Giselle would call him big boy. And he was in the NFL. He's huge. He is a big boy. But Giselle didn't mean it kindly. We know that. So the home is beautiful. It's lovely. Monique is acting like Monique Dr. Doolittle. Monique still loves animals. She has a bird. T'Challa, rest in peace. She lost him through some type of freak accident. Actually, production, they like to troll Wendy. They love showing this footage of where T'Challa tried to grab Wendy's wig at somebody's house and Wendy had a fit. So Monique has wonderful taste. She has a beautiful home. She claims she's on a spiritual path due to the fight. I don't believe you, Monique, because it came up at BravoCon again. Monique, did you ever apologize to Candace? She laughed and said something about her spiritual past. I don't really think she apologized, and I don't know that Candace would ever accept it. So I don't know. So Monique lies that this fight brought out that she had childhood trauma she didn't even know about. I don't believe that. I think she just wanted to fight. She said she's been working to heal. I hope that's true, and I do believe that. Because going through a divorce, that's a lot. And her and Chris are co-parenting these little babies. We find out little Chris is not little. He's taller than Monique. He's 5'10". Her little girl that we met is growing up. She's still a little girl, but she's growing up. And even the little baby, he's getting big. So she asked, what's Ashley up to? First, Ashley asked her, what about your love life? Trying to get in Monique's business. See, this is how I know y'all are not that close as you're claiming to be. And Monique, you're right. She said, what have you been up to? That's right. Don't tell Ashley nothing. Well, G&A, I started a clothing line with Giselle. Monique is genuinely laughing. Out of all the people, you started a clothing line with Giselle? So Monique is saying that Giselle is tacky without saying that Giselle is tacky. Honey, Ashley wants no parts of that. Ashley says, well, I never thought Giselle was a bad dresser. Lies. I never thought Giselle was a bad dresser, but I can say now she looks even more beautiful. That's true. Giselle has been looking more beautiful as far as her clothes, everything. So confessional says that it is not her, confessional Ashley tells us it's not her business to talk about what is going on between Stacy and Chris. I was surprised at that because she brought it up every time she could, any other time. So she's not bringing it up to Monique. That's going to come out later. And not through Ashley, surprisingly enough. So she says, are you going to be okay sharing a float with Giselle? And Monique says, I'm fine with Giselle. Production helpfully shows us the last time Giselle and Monique were in the same room. Monique was verbally knocking her upside the head with that binder, talking about Pastor Holy Garden tool, all kind of stuff. Y'all, it was terrible. Quoting a man's number. Is this his number? Yes, that's his number. Giselle was defeated. I heard they protected Giselle. She had kind of like a mini breakdown, allegedly, and in my opinion, and production didn't show all that because we just show her sitting there like an ice queen. But they said Giselle went through because Monique knew she was fired. Monique was furious. She was angry. And she just gave it to Giselle every which way but loose. I don't have a problem with that. So we got the flashback from Bindergate. Monique says, as long as Giselle's good, she good. So Ashley is going to have everybody on the float. G&A is sponsoring a float for Pride. Ashley's becoming this big Pride phenomenon. That's really gone down, but Ashley's trying to move into that space. Why, Ashley? Is it because you were married to a fluid man? Is that what they're saying about Michael? I mean, we know he's equal opportunity. He'll pinch on anybody. But I don't know if he identifies as such. I don't know. But anyway, Ashley is going to do a Pride float. We get another scene, Angel and her sister, Angel's beautiful sister. I didn't write her name down, y'all. They go to get ice cream. And I like to see Angel smiling and laughing with her sister. They're getting something called Mango Tango. Angel lets us know that her sister is 12 years older. I wouldn't know. Y'all look basically the same age. They're both beautiful women. They're getting their ice cream. Angel's doing a little sister thing. This is on me. You know, you're proud to treat your big sister. So they sit down. And she said, you know, I've been hanging with these new group of ladies, right? The sister narrows her eyes. You know how big sisters do. She said, the first thing out of Giselle's mouth is, I saw a filtered picture of you and it didn't look like you. Sister's eating her ice cream and rolling her eyes. She said, and here goes Wendy. Wendy did laugh like that, y'all. She did. She did. And Angel started making fun of Wendy. She said, not the one with the permanent filter. Now, that's true. Wendy has had work done. It's good work, but it's still work. Wendy has had work done. And then the sister says, and not Giselle talking, I've seen her at events, the way she liked to soft filter that neck. Now, that's fine. When you get up to be a woman of a certain age, if you know how to do it, there's nothing wrong with that. Giselle always looks like Giselle, and she is pretty. Angel goes a little too far, in my opinion. She talked about Wendy still cackling, even though the whole table was laughing. Wendy did get her whole life at that table. But I think Wendy does try, in trying to fit in, she's over the top. That's a flaw. I mean, it's a positive, but it can be a flaw. We see it being a flaw in other ways where she's kind of trying too hard, but Wendy was cackling. She says with her a-hole lips, too much, Angel, too much, and giving Forrest Whitaker about the eye. Y'all, Wendy she do a little squint sometimes when she's trying to be funny, but I didn't like that reference. What did Forrest Whitaker do to you, Angel? We don't like this. So yikes. Angel, you're going to get dragged about that. And don't cry at the reunion. I'm still going to stick beside you, but don't. Giselle's coming for you at the reunion, as is Wendy. So if you can get through that, and Kiana can't help you. She needs to defend her little self. So if you can get through that, you'll be okay, but just giving you the heads up. We have the next scene of Eddie and Wendy. Happy Eddie saying, we're living in virtually a construction site. They're getting all this stuff done, y'all, throughout the house. I didn't even write it all down because production did. They did the old-fashioned lining up of what's being done with the price tag, what's being done with the price tag, what's being done with the price tag. A virtual list of stuff, y'all, equals over $100,000. Production, why y'all doing this to Wendy? Wendy, why didn't your lawyer tell them to take this thing down? So we get a confessional, Wendy. She's saying, I saw an episode of HGTV and I said, I can do that. And I decided to do all this different remodeling. So they go to, look like a garage type area. Eddie has one of his hoodies on, says, bring Eddie out. So come on, Eddie. Eddie has merch. They're packing up. Wendy says, I'm helping Eddie get ready for the Happy Eddie line. If it comes anywhere near me, y'all, I'm going. He did not have a booth at BravoCon. Stacy announced, let me show you this for a second. Stacy announced, since we're speaking of lines, that she announced that BravoCon, it wasn't ready to sell at BravoCon, but her gummy line, Sheyo. So she's using a Nigerian word, y'all. That's pretty funny. Stacy's a trip. After denying it to Giselle, which it wasn't Giselle's business. I guess it wasn't ready yet, but we now know she has the line. Eddie and Wendy kind of laugh about that. They were very gracious. Eddie and Wendy says, well, because like I said, no one owns the cannabis business. No one owns it. But Stacy did deny it when she was first asked. Eddie says, well, you know, we've inspired some people. She went to bring Eddie out. Production shows us that. That was a funny scene at the reunion. That was related to TJ. So we saw Stacy going, bring Eddie out. He said she went from bring Eddie out to trying to be like me. She's doing this line. And he said, I'm going to do a strain in honor of her. When he says, what do we call it? Eddie said, copycat. So Wendy thought that was really funny. We get a next scene while Eddie and Wendy are discussing. We go to when Stacy is at a shoot for Shayo. Shayo is the name of her brand. She has a photographer. He is designed at a place called Namaste. They're taking pictures. Everything's real zen. She said that's her brand. That's who she is. Now, you know, Stacy, I know you watch this show. Wendy says she's Zen Wen. So now your personality is Zen, Stacy. I wouldn't put that on Stacy. She seemed a little more hyper to me, but she's saying she's Zen too. And that's how she came up with this line of gummies. We flash back to Eddie and Wendy. Wendy's discussing her trip. She said they celebrated my birthday. Eddie's always hyping Wendy up, as they should. You're right, Eddie. She was gone for her birthday, and they did celebrate it, and it was nice. Even though she stayed sick, he brought that up again. So he was 10 toes down. And I heard you had a sinus infection the whole trip. I did, and I heard she didn't want to pay. And when it was time to pay, she would dip out and all of a sudden start sneezing and coughing. But that's just my opinion as to what happened. So they discussed the trip. Wendy says her dad didn't call her for her birthday. They have a family group chat. He puts in there about his brother telling, everybody, happy birthday to everybody's uncle, but he didn't acknowledge Wendy. So Eddie said that wasn't right. They're upset about that. So we get back to the Shayo scene. Stacy takes a little bit of break. The pictures are going to be pretty. This was, as a matter of fact, this was an ad. Like I said, it was at a place called Namaste. So they're going for like a yoga feel. That's really pretty. They're going for a yoga feel. Stacy tells us, I am part of the 4% owned by Black people cannabis business. Congratulations, y'all. That is big. That's huge. It's a lucrative business. A lot of people are making a lot of money off of it, whereas others went to jail for years for similar businesses. Okay, we'll say that. So Stacy says that Shayo means to be happy. Stacy, that is a play on Happy Eddie, but okay. She says it's not. She's not inspired by anyone. She just wants to be a part of this business. This is why they call Stacy a liar. Because it's okay to say, yeah, I'm on this show now. I have this platform. This is a part of Arabella's legacy. And this is what I want to do. Nobody owns the cannabis business. So Stacy gets a call from Ashley. Ashley's head gets right up on the phone, y'all. Hi. She says, hi, pretty. Hi. So they're talking to each other. Stacy, are you still going to Jazzy's wedding? Ashley, if you ask this lady this one more time, she's told you that she's going to the wedding. She's not in it, but she's going. Stacy said, you know about my cannabis brand? Ashley's like, I do now. Ashley, you already knew that. Stop this. Stacy says, it makes sense with wellness being her brand. Confessional Ashley says, I'm tired. I'm sick and tired. She's saying that Stacy has no self-awareness. Okay, pot, meet kettle. So we get another scene where, I didn't like the way Ashley tried to segregate Stacy from the group. We're going to the wedding too. I'm glad you're going. But Wendy and I have to leave early. We have the float. We have an event. Stacy's like, me too. We're all in the same boat. We're all going to be on the float. So I'm going to leave early too. So Ashley, you know this. You're all going to Jazzy's event, make an appearance, and then you're going to the Pride event. We get a scene with Giselle. Personal business from Giselle, y'all. I'm proud of you, Giselle. I'm proud of Giselle. I don't know that I have any pictures or anything of Giselle, probably just the general. There she is. Giselle and Ashley, G&A, right? G&R, G&A. So Giselle's flying to Atlanta regarding her father's will. This has been going on a few years. Angel's going to pick her up while she's down there. She's going to run around. I guess she's doing a day thing, the court appearance, and going right back. Giselle has a confessional where she is sharing with us that the father's wife, she doesn't use her name, but I don't know, Giselle, bringing out this business like this. Something about the will. His will was thrown away. He had, I don't want to misname what he had. He might have had brain cancer or something, but Giselle says he was not well enough to sign anything as far as a new will, but that's what happened. The last Giselle, and he spoke of the will. She was in it. Giselle also has a sister we don't hear a lot about. She may not want any parts of Potomac and all that, but Giselle is not in it. The children, her daughters, whom the father loved. We've seen the father and his ex-wife Giselle's mother with the daughters. They loved themselves some Grace, Angel, and Adore. So this is a curious thing that happened. But he was ill. He could have changed the will, but it's a matter of when. So then Giselle comes out of court. She also said in the confessional, had she not been a horrible, terrible person, this wouldn't be happening. She's talking about the widow, y'all. I don't like that too much. I don't know anything about this lady, and this should not be our first introduction, because Giselle has a platform that this woman doesn't have. And we'll see if there's any type gag orders or anything placed. She gets back in the car. She said, it went as well as it could. The judge listened. He or she didn't throw anything out, but they said they will come back when there's more news to tell the family as far as what else they're going to do about this will. So I hope that's resolved in everyone's best interest. Because if his latest wife was taking care of him, Giselle, you know, I don't know, but he probably maybe didn't mean to disinherit his daughters. So I don't know, y'all. This is terrible. But Giselle is sharing with us, so thank Giselle for that. A lot of people go through things like that. The next scene, we have Greg's new house. They look good. They're going to a concert together. He's in his Woo shirt, okay? Kiana is in her leopard print, and she's looking good. Tiger print, something, some kind of animal print. And he's like, are you going to be comfortable? Your feet are going to be hurting. She's putting on her strappy sandals. Greg is dressed the way I prefer to dress for a concert. I see the strappy sandal girls looking beautiful, but at the end, honey, they are walking on that ground, bare feet on the ground. I cannot. So I'm still in sneakers, okay, at a concert. He's like, do you know anything about the Wu-Tang Clan? I didn't know it was a clan. I thought it was the gang. Kiana, stop acting silly. That's cool in the gang. It's no Wu-Tang gang. It's a clan. She only knows the song Cream. And Greg's like, he's trying to get her to say cash rules everything around me. Okay, dollar bill, y'all. Kiana tells us that Greg is only 6 years older than her. I didn't know that. Greg does present older. She's 37, y'all. She's one of the babies of the bunch, her and Jazzy. So she's 37. Greg's only 6 years older. But she tells us he got 3 little kids. I don't know if I remember that. So they also are in therapy now. They're speaking better to each other. I think Kiana was really embarrassed, and maybe Greg was too, about the way he treated her on screen. I'm glad to see them doing better. So then the Pride event, we see a float being put together. They're in a bar. A lot of people dressed in rainbow colors. Ashley bops in. Y'all, I previewed this last week. She had her swag together, y'all. Ashley looked just like a little, what they call studs, a little stud. She said she going by Ash Top or Ash T-O-P. Tia thought Ash Top was cute. I thought she looked kind of like Joe Dirt. Y'all know that movie, Joe Dirt? So she looked just like a little middle-aged white man. She was cute. She gives everybody that's there overly vulgar names. I wasn't thrilled about it. Monique dances in. Giselle had her little rainbow cowboy hat on, but Giselle did not look happy, y'all. She pushed Cal like, look who it is. And the camera recorded Giselle's face. She was smiling a little bit, but not happy. She said, push Cal. And Cal went over there and hugged her. Cal's the one that used to do her hair. But they're still very good friends. So Monique and Cal are hugging. I didn't see Giselle hug her, but they did greet each other. Grace is there as well. So a little decorum, Ash Top. You don't have to speak like this. Tia is saying that she would be attracted to Ash Top. I don't know. Tia has a type, I guess. She thought Rachel Maddow was a handsome woman. So Kay is asking, who do you know here? Ashley is saying who Monique knows everybody there. Wendy has not seen Monique since Wendy helped Robin and Giselle vote Monique off the island. Wendy, yes, you did. But Wendy's acting like she don't remember anything about that. Last time I saw Monique, this, that, and the other. Nothing about her dragging Candace. Production did show us that, I think. And Giselle, of course, has not seen her since she was instrumental in getting her kicked off, as well as Bindergate. Stacy doesn't know her. Kiana doesn't know her. So I don't know why Kiana was doing all that talking, y'all. Kiana says, oh, I thought you knew each other. Monique's like, I don't even leave the house, so how would I know each other? Stacy's like, I don't know her. But Stacy, why are you looking pressed? If you and Chris dated, it doesn't matter. You don't know Monique. And Monique is returning to a group of women that she does know. So Giselle ends up saying, no, no, that's Chris. Because Kiernan said, I thought you had seen each other around. Giselle said, that's Chris. And then Kiernan says, whoa, didn't Chris and she used to date? And that was the end of the episode. So they tried to leave a little bit of a cliffhanger. I think it fell flat. Monique and Stacy were never friends. They don't know each other. Stacy's newer to the group. This is her sophomore season. So I don't see why it would be a big deal if she did date Chris. She told us Chris is a lovely person. He's the greatest person. She's back with TMO and she is legally divorced. So what difference does it make? But that is where we end, y'all. This was just an okay episode. I did love the fact that we were getting a little bit more about Giselle's life. Oh, there was a part I left out when the daughters and Tia and them were going back and forth about the gift from the mom. That was a flash scene. Tia and her family had a larger scene, y'all, where when Tia was away on the girls' trip, the vacation, Wendy's birthday, when they went to Nevis, one of the daughters had a party. We see a flashback, all the ladies singing the daughter happy birthday, who looks unimpressed. They are such teenagers, y'all. But the party got bigger than it was supposed to get. They were supposed to cut the list. One of the boys that was trimmed or didn't make the list gave the address. And a bunch of kids showed up who were not supposed to be there. The daughter ended up calling the police. Tia was like, oh, that's pretty funny. She calls me a Karen. So the daughter called the police when a bunch of kids showed up. There was some unruly behavior, maybe someone standing on a car. I was interested in the husband. I was watching him and he didn't know anything about it. Somebody stood on the car? No. Then the little girl was like, somebody threw up in my room. Somebody threw up in your room? No, that didn't happen. They're making it worse than it was. So Tia's joking. He obviously did a great job monitoring the party. So they're doing a lot of family scenes. Welcome in. No problem, Cece. I appreciate you whether you are live or team replay. Cece's one of my moderators. I received some information from you as well. Thank you. That's going to be in a political discourse. And Dot Willie speaking to Cece as she came in. So y'all, this was just an okay episode. I'm going to have to give it, I would say, I don't like to give it a 6, maybe a 6.5. Maybe a 6.5 with a chance if they do a makeup or extra credit, maybe they can get a 70 and pass. But this didn't, Monique's return to my Guess Who's Back and having the episode name for her kind of fell flat. I love watching her beautiful home. That's a beautiful home. I'm not buying the friendship with her and Ashley. I don't believe it. I think it's more of an alliance. I think something sinister is in the background. Remember at one of the reunions when Michael had felt on one of the cameramen? Everything's alleged in my opinion, but Bravo showed Michael passing by a guy, the guy saying, hey, don't do that. He had felt on the cameraman, pinched his bottom or something. And there was some type of litigation. And when Candace mentioned it, she got caught up in some type of litigation. There was video. Monique had let us know that her and Chris had videos all over their house. This one was never shown, just the whatever tape that Bravo had. So I think that some kind of favors were done between Monique and Ashley. But their friendship is more of an alliance. We will see more. I like the fact they didn't drag it out too long. We knew Monique was coming back. We were waiting. It was just like, meh, it was okay. And she wasn't even really dressed for Pride. When did she get invited to Pride? Everybody else had on rainbow type stuff and she was in just a regular white shirt. So it was just okay. We'll see what happens. We'll see if it picks up. The Shea thing, that's not going to be a big storyline as far as it's okay for Stacy as far as the business. I think that's great. Congratulations to her on that. Happy Eddie on his. But Wendy and Eddie are not going to fight with her over that. They've already said, hey, congratulations. You know, big enough room for everybody. So I love that they're doing that. Wendy's renovations, I don't know. I bet she wishes that were a little more low key. I feel like, oh, the wedding. Here's what I did not like. This would have been a higher rated episode. Jazzy and Darius make it to the altar and take their vows. And the wedding looked so beautiful. Jazzy looked so beautiful. Y'all, that might as well have been a mini scene. I know she's a friend of, but why are y'all doing Jazzy like that? Miami's friend ofs are totally different. They show their events. Adriana is a friend of down in Miami. Kiki is a friend of, as well as Marisol. And they are integral to the show. And they were all at BravoCon on the panel stage with the cast. So I don't like the fact we didn't get Jazzy at BravoCon. We didn't get Is K Michelle carrying a peach? K Michelle wasn't at BravoCon. Pinky Cole was not there either. I think she's a newer peach. She's not friend up. But there were people that were there, people that were not there. I would have liked to see more of Jazzy's wedding. What I saw, I'm going to go to social media and actually look for more. So, you know what? I'm not going to round up for this episode. I'm going to give it a 6 because we know production had beautiful footage they could have given to us. And instead, we just got this kind of like, eh. So, Cece, thank you for coming in. Cece came in and spoke to everyone. I do appreciate that. And again, this wasn't too much to the episode. So this is just kind of a little review, I guess, a little half hour. So this is season 10, episode 7. Monique is back, so we don't have to guess anymore. We knew she was coming back. Monique's back. She didn't make a splash yet. Long as she doesn't come in crazy or aiming herself at Stacy on behalf of Ashley and Giselle, I'm okay with Monique. I still don't believe her when she says she's doing all this soul searching and journey and stuff. But thank you so much for replaying, Team Replay. Thank you. I think, I don't know. We'll see. I'll give it a 6 because I want to see more of Jazzy's wedding, but I'll have to go to social media to get it. So why go there, film, and then watch Ashley, Wendy, and Stacy leave? Wendy was in tears during the wedding, y'all. She's such a romantic. Remember when Robin got reproposed to by Juan? Wendy was jumping all over the place, and her and Robin weren't even close. But again, that was the end of this episode. Thank you for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. If you've already liked the video, I appreciate it. If you have not, please do so. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I'll keep up through the whole season. I'm going to go through the whole season. And then Real Housewives of Rhode Island, I'm going to preview that because we got a small preview in Vegas. It looks good. The Peaches are coming back. I'll be reviewing that, of course. So everybody, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See you in the YouTube streets. Bye, everybody.